So Microsoft has no doubt had a bad string of luck lately, and it's very unfortunate when this type of stuff happens for a number of reasons. Look, I'm an Xbox fan. I want to see Xbox do well. I want to see Xbox not only do well, but I want to see it excel. And it hasn't really been able to excel the way that like we've all wanted it to, and that's a real shame. Hopefully, this might be able to buck that trend a little bit, get some positive Xbox news flowing, because that's what we would like to see. I know people think that I'm being negative or whatever the case may be, but it's really not. I'm not being negative. I just really feel like Microsoft has kind of given up a little bit on the Xbox consoles themselves, and that's unfortunate because they're great hardware. They've got some pretty decent games and a good game lineup. And I know you might go, oh, well, then that should be plenty. You should not be giving them so much crap. Listen, I have to give them crap because you have to still sell them to make it viable. You have to make it viable for third-party developers. But this is good news. I'm not going to taint that with a negative rant. At least not yet. What's up, everybody? I'm Crap Gamer with Crap Gamer Reviews, back with yet another video. Thank you all so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out my channel, and it means a lot to me personally if you guys could do that. Like I said, the likes, the subscriptions, share it out. That would be pretty amazing, and it really does help. Like, I know you guys don't believe that, but 100% it really does help the channel. So, this is good news. It looks like Final Fantasy developers have good news for Xbox fans. Finally, right? Legendary Final Fantasy developer Mr. Yoshida is giving fans hope that more entries will be released on Xbox going forward. Ever since the original Final Fantasy VII launched as a PlayStation exclusive back in 1997, the Final Fantasy franchise has been largely tied to Sony's gaming brand. While a few games have been released on other platforms, most of the mainline Final Fantasy titles have remained exclusive to PlayStation hardware, or at the very least haven't been released on Xbox consoles. A prime example is Final Fantasy XVI, which has a PC port coming in September, but there is no Xbox version in sight. Again, we did get Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox One. It was kind of a blurry mess. I tried to play it. Listen, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy fan. I'm not probably the one to really, care about this. I couldn't care either way. I played Final Fantasy 7 remake on my PS5, and I thought it was pretty good. And again, I still think that it would be cool if Xbox got everything, but at the same time, it's a business, and Microsoft realistically is treating everything like a business. But at the same time, Sony is making sure that their fans and their gamers get like all these amazing perks of being in that ecosystem. So I think that's something that I have to look at going forward when it comes down to it. At the end of the day, that's how it's going to be. So everybody, like the third party stuff, I'm firmly, unless there's some kind of huge deal made between these publishers, then the third party stuff should be coming to everyone, and I'll stick by that forever. That's just how I feel about it. But I found it to be very interesting. Square Enix might be looking to change in the future. While Final Fantasy XVI game director remains that his team is focused on the PC version first and foremost, he would like to see the newest edition of the franchise make the jump to Xbox Series X at some point. In January, rumors spread that Microsoft was in talks with Square Enix to bring Final Fantasy VII Remake to Xbox hardware, as its previous exclusivity deal with Sony expired years ago. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy XIV was ported to Xbox in March. Ms. Yoshida, director behind Final Fantasy XIV and producer of Final Fantasy XVI, recently spoke with Eurogamer during Gamescom this year and talked about the possibility of more games coming to the Xbox consoles in the future. And his words were indeed encouraging to Xbox gamers and fans, as he stated that Square Enix is looking to use the success of Final Fantasy XIV as a starting point to strengthen the community on Xbox towards Final Fantasy franchise. To this end, Square Enix wishes to bring more of its games to Xbox Series X, including non-Final Fantasy titles. So think about this, right? Square Enix is suffering a little bit. I guess like some of the Final Fantasy games are selling okay, probably not within expectations. I wouldn't expect those games being on Xbox to suddenly pushed them over the top, to be quite frank about it, because Xbox fans, I don't really see them as being these huge Final Fantasy aficionados. But, it couldn't help, and maybe they put them in Xbox in Game Pass to kind of recoup some of the losses and things like that. That could be definitely something that happens along the way. Now, with that being said, how can you expect Xbox fans to jump on, the bandwagon for Final Fantasy if it turns out that, we're only getting like these little side Final Fantasy games? It wouldn't make much sense to me in any way that you kind of say it. But, it is encouraging to see us. Earlier in the year, Square announced that it would pursue a more aggressive multi-platform strategy in the wake of its recent financial troubles, which have caused the company to reevaluate its previous commitment to PlayStation exclusives like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and the yet untitled sequel. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy XIV is one of Square Enix's most profitable titles in memory, and Yoshi P says that early response to the MMO's Xbox release has been strong so far. So it does seem like Square Enix hopes to replicate the success with future Final Fantasy games. According to Yoshi P's latest statements, details about what to expect going forward are still sparse, but this is a promising sign for Xbox gamers who would like to play more Final Fantasy games. And again, even if it's not what I want particularly or care about, I want it to happen because there's probably gamers on Xbox that do want it. And a long time ago, I've come to the realization that, it's always about, what more people can have, right? It's not always just about me. Like, what I like doesn't necessarily mean you have to like, and what you like doesn't necessarily mean what I have to like, right? Like, I like college football, I like Madden, I like, a lot of stuff that maybe some people would consider to be weird or whatever, but at the same time, I can understand why not everybody likes that stuff. So, at the end of the day, yeah, it takes a little bit of kind of getting used to with some of this stuff, but I'm very interested to see if indeed Xbox fans get what they're kind of looking for. We'll see what happens. Again, anything can happen at any particular point, but it is nice to see that Microsoft is getting some love here, and especially after missing out on Capcom Collection and some of these other ones. I think that it's really interesting to see how everybody's kind of reacting to this stuff. Is this going to be the way it is from now on? Are we going to be able to see, more games come? I think that would be the very interesting situation going forward. And, again, I think Microsoft could use some wins here, right? We're all sitting there kind of wondering what the future is going to be, and are people going to continue to kind of be able to enjoy all these other games that they should be able to enjoy on the platform? I think that's a very relevant question to sort of ask people. So, I would hope that is the case going forward. And, like I said, I don't know what Microsoft's plans for the futures are. They could really think anything in terms of what they're going to want to do. Maybe they don't even want to do, this type of thing anymore. Maybe they don't want to do hardware anymore. They maybe don't want to do any of this stuff. I don't know. I think anything can happen, but I also think that, that Microsoft has to realize, and they probably do realize, that the revenue that they get from having their own store on a console is not going to be replaced by putting out games on PlayStation, right? Because think about this. PlayStation is going to at some point get their act together, and they're going to be, releasing their first-party games, their big heavy hitters, and Xbox can't go to the old games over and over and over again, because not every game is a hit. Let's just say Sea of Thieves was a hit. That type of game is very unique and was already very popular. But then look at Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Ghostwire Tokyo, Grounded. These games weren't a success, right? They're not going to release stuff like Crackdown 3 or Redfall on PlayStation because they're bad games, and there's no point in releasing bad games. No matter how many places you release it, a bad game isn't going to sell. So there's only so much they can really do to kind of, do anything. Yeah, release the Halo collection and Gears collection, and you'd probably get a quick pop. But at the end of the day, Microsoft doesn't have those type of games. that much. You know what I mean? They don't have those many tiers of great exclusives that they could just go back to the well to. So they need to get their act together. Getting these third-party games on Xbox is important, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Let me know down below. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Crep Gamer out.